Hey everyone, Sean here. Welcome back to the Outdoor Tracks channel. So, Schwinn, got the bike rack, and this is the bracket I was telling you about. That's going to go in it. So, before I install the bike rack though, I'm going to go ahead and paint this bracket and see if I have bolts that I can change out for these stainless ones here. These look to be pretty good quality though, so I just might go ahead and just paint these, but I'd rather have the Allen head bolts. This is the bike rack. It's an Ibera. It's the same one I have on the truck. So let me go ahead and take this out of the package and start installing it on the bike. Alright, so I've got the hardware out. The rack is right there, and it's the same rack, as I said, that is on the truck. So there's a couple different versions of this rack, and this is the version that has that's for disc brake. And the main differences between the disc brake and non-disc brake model are these spacers right here. So if you can see these spacers and these bolts, they actually go right here. So like on the Trek, see how we got that spacer there? And then you got the other spacer right there. So on this Trek, I could have used the regular, the non-disc brake model, simply because I don't have the disc brake. The way the disc brake is mounted in here, it's inside of the frame. So if you see how it's inside the frame there. So that wouldn't have been an issue. However, when you go over here to the Schwinn, so this side would have been okay to mount. But you notice how the disc caliper is on top on the Schwinn. So you need that spacer to be able to get outside of the caliper. And that's what the main difference is. So if you order this rack, make sure you get the disc brake model, because you need that spacer to be able to get out on the outside of that disc caliper. Alright, so let's go ahead and put all this together. And remember all those bolts I bought when I changed out all the hardware for the Trek? I still have those extra ones. So I'm going to use those on this. Be back. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and paint the bolts with my flat black Rust-Oleum. If you can see that, wow. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and paint the bolts with that. And I noticed as I was cleaning, so where I had the bags mounted up here on this top rack, and you can see there's a little bit of an overlap. So the rivets on the back of the bags were rubbing right here. So in the future, I'm just going to go ahead and mount the bags down here on this one, on this bar. It does have a little stop right here to keep it from going out too far. But for right now, this is just aluminum, so nothing's going to rust there. But I'm just going to touch this up also while I'm at it. Alright, so on the Trek, touch up these little spots right here. You can see there's a little bit right there and there. So I'm going to do a simple touch up on it. And if you've never done that before, I'll show you a quick and easy way. So a little bit of alcohol, and all I'm going to do is just clean the spots off and prep them. Get you on camera here. Same thing on this side. So just want to make sure that the surface is nice and clean, and look for any other spots that might need to be touched up. Everything else looks pretty good. So just those spots right there. Alright, and then take my can of Rust-Oleum, the cover here, and I'm just going to put a little tiny shot of paint right down in there, as you can see. Take a nice clean Q-tip. This flat black dries really quick. And I'm just going to go ahead, rub it on there. Now you're going to have to do a couple coats of it doing it this way, but it's flat black paint, so it'll mesh in really good once it dries. Like I said, these are always gonna be pretty much covered by the bags anyway, so it's just a matter of detail. Right, there we go. Now just let that dry, and then I'll hit it again. So I'm gonna finish that up, and then I'll come back. All right, y'all. So I got everything painted up and ready to go in. So first thing I'm gonna install is the cross bracket. So this goes into, there's a hole right here, and the bracket's all painted up now. So I'm just gonna put the bolt through, washer and nut on the other side. And I'm just gonna hand tighten it for right now because I need to be able to adjust that. So that's gonna be a good fit, and the way it fits on the frame right here, it actually kind of pinches it in place. So, but I just want to hand tighten it for right now so that I can get the actual rack put on before I tighten everything down. All right, so showed you enough. Go ahead and put it on. So I'm gonna start with, this one's just popping out. So don't know how high this is gonna sit yet. This is a 27.5 inch. Versus the Trek is a 29 inch. Huh, strange. All right, so I figured out why I was having such an issue. So over there on the Trek, those holes are M5, this size, metric M5. Over here, so this isn't, I couldn't get the M5 in here, because watch. See that? It just basically just goes right in there. So M5 is too small. This is an M6, but I don't have a long one. I'll have to go get one, but these are threaded for an M6. Get in there. Of course, it's going to be difficult. Come on. All right, so as you see, got it started. Come on, focus, damn it. All right, so got it started, but yeah, this is an M6. So now I need to go back to the hardware store and pick up an M6 by 30, I think it is. But as I was measuring, so this is the spacer and the bracket and the actual bar. So if you notice, do it on this side. So see where the screw comes to? And that's going to be, I want to go just a little bit longer than that. So I want it to stick out just a little bit on the other side, basically go all the way through the frame. So I need to get just a little bit longer screw, but that's fine because I need to go to the hardware store anyway. So I'll get a M6 by whatever size I find that's longer than this screw, by just barely a little bit, so that it'll go all the way through the frame. All right, so I'm on the way to the hardware store now, and I usually go to McFadden Dale Hardware, but it's quite a ways from where I live at. So they just built a Tractor Supply hardware store, I guess it is, not too far from where I live. So I'm gonna head over there and see if I can find what I need. All right, see you soon. Not impressed. This is all they have. The closest thing they have is this M6 here, which is a 1 inch, but as you can see, too short. So it's off to McFadden Dale Hardware. Metric, socket, or not socket, standard. So yeah, not that big of a selection compared to McFadden Dale. So off we go. All right, everyone, back at McFadden Dale Hardware, about to go in, and I'm gonna take you with me to show you the selection they have in there. It's pretty impressive. How you doing? Male, female.
Download the Bet MGM app today and stop by any MGM casino on the Strip with your state-issued ID. And before you know it, boom, you'll be able to place bets from anywhere in the app. And take advantage of Bet MGM's Daily Twisted Odds special. 21 or older and physically located in Nevada. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
As you see, they got quite the selection here. So I've got what I need, and that'll do it. All right, everyone, back in the car. Got my bolts, got 4 of them. They're a little bit longer than what I wanted, but it's fine because there's going to be spacers in here anyway. Going to have washers for spacers, and so all 4 of these cost me 87 cents. I think I spent more in gas than I did for the bolts. But anyway, I'm going to head home now, and let's go ahead and get this rack installed on this Schwinn. Okay, just got back from the hardware store, McFadden Dale, because they have all that fantastic hardware I showed you. I just painted 2 of the bolts, because as I said, they do rust, so if you want to take the chance and you get these, I'm just saying, they do rust, so I would go ahead and paint them up, but I'm going to use the 2 that I haven't painted yet just to get everything fitted on the bike before I install those other ones. So I was kind of worried. I didn't think to check this, but these are the spacers, and it is a perfect fit for an M6. So thank goodness they do make them big enough for that, and do have room for a washer on there if I need it. So anyway, let me get back to the installing part. All right, so here we go. Really hoping everything goes a lot smoother this time, but I did check the threads, and so I'm putting it in the furthermost bottom hole as far as where the screw's going. And you can see the thread is just right. So it's an M6 thread, and stay tuned at the end of the video. I'll actually post the size that you're going to need if you're going to use this type of bike rack, or I'd imagine any type of bike rack, because they're all going to use on the Schwinn. If you're putting a bike rack on the Schwinn, it's going to use the same size screw, which is an M6. It's an M6 by 1 by 40, actually, now that I think about it. I got both on the bottom, screw it in, and then I move this one to the bottommost hole on the rack, and looks like we're going to have plenty of clearance now on here. So, all right, that is more like how it's supposed to go. Now that I get all the right hardware. All right, so now I need to put the arms on, and this one here is going to go right here. So I'm using the replacement hardware that I bought at the hardware store for these screws here. They're more heavy duty. And I don't really like Phillips screws when it comes to putting screws on. So these are both M5, the short M5 nuts and bolts. Alright, got that one on there. We'll do the same thing for the other side. This one's going to come in this way. Right, I think we're actually getting somewhere. Fun part, we need to try to put both of these in at the same time. There we go. And then get it about level, which is going to be right about there. All right, pretty much done. That's super tight, there ain't going nowhere. And it is still level. Got a few more minutes on the those bolts that I painted, and I just put them up in front of my lights. So they're getting some heat right now. They should dry up pretty quick. Ooh, yeah, that's hot. So those screws are still a little bit tacky, so just put them in there, and then using the wrench to tighten it down. Pull this other one out. So these, let's leave a little bit loose for right now. And go ahead and start cranking everything down. Alright, so these ones here I know are in the right place now, so I can go ahead and tighten these down. Okay, and these here. Looks like I'm going to need a wrench on those too. I don't know if I got one small enough for that. 5/16. That'll work. Right. Alright, so 1, 2, 3 is done. These two are done. So I need to cinch down these right here. I'm going to go tight, but not too tight. I don't want to strip them out. But I don't want them coming loose either. Remember, all these have grease on them. Good enough. And then finally, these big ones. Make sure that they're not touching anything, and they're not. So that length is pretty much perfect. They come through the frame enough where there's a lot of support, and but not far enough where it's touching anything. All right, and so there we have it. So you can see it comes through the frame just a little bit, but it's not actually touching anything in there. And same thing, this side's really hard to show, but it's the same thing on this side. It's coming through, but it is not touching anything in there. So, bike rack done. So, alright, so the size, if you're going to put pretty much any type of bike rack, you're going to need these screws right here for the Schwinn. As far as I know, pretty much all the other bikes are an M5 there, as far as I know. Like I said, I'm relatively still new with this, but this is the size that you need. An M6 by 1 by 40. Alright, and washers if you don't have them. So that concludes the bike rack install, and I'm going to just throw the racks on there, the bags I mean, and see how they fit. Alright everybody, so just real quick, I got the rack is on, everything's tightened up, and I just wanted to show you why you need to order the rack with the spacers, which is the disc brake model. And this is exactly why. So the disc caliper, you can see where it sits out right here, right? And you see right here. So you need these spacers to get you out over this caliper. If you buy the regular model without the spacers, you'll be hitting this caliper, and it will not work. So just wanted you guys to be able to see that. Alright, so this is this side, and that's that side. So I'm going to, before I was putting them on this top rack, the top bar, but I'm going to put them on the bottom bar this time simply because I don't want to get the rivets. Here, I'll show you real quick. So you can see where the rivet, if you can see that, where the rivet was actually rubbing, and I don't want that to rub through. So I'm going to start putting them down here so they won't touch that anymore. Two. I don't know, I kind of like it up on the top better, but I don't know, we'll see. Take it for a ride real quick. Very nice. Man, you got all the stuff inside the saddlebags. When you go to lift up the back end of your bike with all that stuff in there, you really feel it. I forgot how fun this is to ride. Definitely need to take it out on a trip. I think that's going to be the next video coming up, is testing out the new bike shorts and taking the Schwinn for a nice trip. Alright, so one last quick thing. So I moved them to the top bar, like where I have them on the Trek. Oh, by the way, remember that that spot? So you can still see like where it was roughed up right there. But anyhow, so from distance, you can't tell. Anyhow, so that rivet that was kept hitting here, so I have an idea. And what I'm going to do is go get some like rubber tubing, gas line tubing or whatever. I think that's like 3/8 or whatever, and then just cut a slit in it and just put it where the rivets are sitting and zip tie it in place. Or maybe not even zip tie it, I might not have to do that, but so that's what I'll do. I'll just put some rubber tubing over this right here to keep it from, the rivets from going through. So that's a project for another time. Right now, I'm just happy with the way they're sitting on there. And I noticed that the whole rack sits back a little bit further than it does up here. I don't know if that has something to do with the angle of the seat tube or what it is, but I could actually put my top bag on here without having to remove this. So the only issue that I'm really going to have is where, if I do take this bike packing, where do I put my sleeping bag? But that's an issue for another time. This just unclips. I can leave the actual. Now I gotta unvelcro it, but so you unvelcro that and it just clips into place right there. So put it back in. And then if I wanted to go bike packing, I'll just take that off and put my sleeping bag right there. And what I do like is, because it's 27.5 inch, you got a lot more room between the bar here where the sleeping bag would sit than I do here. See, I can't even get my fingers in here. So that's a plus. This bike is a little bit heavier than the Schwinn though, so I just remember going up them hills, so I got a lot more stuff, as far as weight goes. This one's heavier than the Trek, I believe. I really haven't done a weight comparison on both of them, but it feels heavier. So I'll stop talking now, and anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Alright, you guys, that was a long process, only because I had to go get new bolts, but that was kind of a blessing in disguise, actually. I was kind of irritated at first that I had to go find new bolts, because I think it's an oddball size. I don't know if most other bikes have an M5 bolt in the back for that bottom bracket, but being an M6 though, it sure is a lot more heavy duty, so it should be able to support more weight on there without breaking. And I know those bolts are good because they're a 12 in hardness. So anyway, thanks for watching, you guys, and till next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Hey everyone, Sean here. I just want to thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like